The 2024 Clio Cup Series comes from the Autódromo Internacional de Algarve for round 2 of the championship, second meeting of the year for this newly revitalized and newly reformatted Clio Cup Series, which is now 1 European championship and 4 regional championships. That is Italia, France, España, and Mid-Europe. This weekend, we have the France and España grids joining the Clio Cup Series, as it was for the opening meeting of the season at Nogaro a few weeks ago. This is how they line up for the first race of the weekend. It is Gabriele Torelli, the France Championship leader, on pole position alongside Nicolas Malan, who is third in the championship. Then it's our reigning champion David Pouget alongside Anthony Giraro, our championship leader. The junior pole position going to Adrien Schimpf in 5th place, and then it's Pierre Bredoux on the 3rd row of the grid. Mauro Polderman, the youngest driver on the grid, alongside Alejandro Schimpf. Leonardo Ardrini is 2nd in the junior championship, starts 9th alongside Nikola Milkovic, who is on the challenger pole position. Alexander Finkelstein and Nikola Tozic on the 6th row of the grid, alongside Florian Venturi and Lorenzo Van Riet on row 7. Jack Byrne and Thomas Campan on row 8, very competitive lineup there. René Stietzmann and Manuel Fernandez. René being the gentleman class pole position. Our most recent race winner, Guilherme Mayo, starting down in 19th position alongside Ludovico Longoni. And then Calvin Comte and Quinto Stefano on row 11. Cedric Delcoy and Michael Craui on row 12. Stefan Polderman and Andrea Cerici. Jean-Louis Carponchin, Gael Rostand, Damiano Puccetti and Samuel Chalin is down in 30th position. Nava and Michel Fay, Benjamin Carvas and Gabriel Alonso complete a 34-car field, which, as I mentioned, comprises of the Clio Cup Series, Clio Cup France and Clio Cup España. And 3 different class of drivers as well. We have the junior category for drivers under the age of 23. Then the Challenger Cup for the less accomplished drivers aged between 23 and 44, and then the Gentleman Cup for the less accomplished drivers who are 45 and over. This is the second meeting of the season. As we mentioned, next time out at Hockenheim in 2 weeks' time, we will see the Mid-Europe Championship join the France Championship. And then we have the first meeting for the Italian Championship at Misano in May. It's a very thorough calendar that is 9 meetings long. Each of the regional championships getting 5 race meetings, 10 races in. But the big change for this year, no more drop rounds. So every race is going to count towards the championship. As the formation lap gets underway, Gabriele Torelli leads them around one more tour of the circuit before we get underway for a 25-minute plus 1 lap race. First of the weekend. We'll have another one tomorrow following another 20-minute qualifying session. It was a damp qualifying session this morning, which might explain why some of the drivers might expect to be a little bit further up. I'm not quite though there. If you didn't watch the opening race meeting at Nogaro last time around, then well, you missed quite an epic finale in the race 2, which was only 45 thousandths of a second separating Guillaume Mao and Nicolas Milan for the victory. And in fact, Mayo pulling 1.6 seconds on the last lap on Milan to snatch the victory for him. And it was mixed conditions at Nogaro last time out. Much better conditions, well, it wasn't this morning, but much better conditions now, just gone past 5 p.m. local time here in the Algarve. It's a beautiful late evening to go racing with 34 of the 5th generation Clio Cup car. Clio Cup going all the way back to 1991. This is the 3rd season of the Clio Cup Series. We've got 2 more years of it. It has been confirmed by Alpine Racing. It's been reunified with the Alpine Elf Cup Series as well for its 6 meetings of the season. We had that race a little bit earlier on. Anthony Girardo actually competing in both those championships this weekend, although he'll be hoping that this race goes a little bit better than the Alpine race this morning, where he only made it to turn 2 before he suffered front right corner damage that put him out of the race. But the fifth generation car, but slight tweak compared to last year. It's got new front bodywork to reflect its road car counterpart, but still the same familiar 1.3 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder 200 brake horsepower engine. Michelin tyres all around, getting that power into the tyres through a 5-speed sequential gearbox, as we like to see. It'll be a standing start, unlike the Alpines, which use a rolling start. It will be Gabriele Torelli and Nicolas Milan on the front row of the grid. The guys second and third in the series championship at the moment. Obviously, Nicolas Milan hoping to make up for that and losing the win by 45 thousandths of a second last time out at Nogaro. David Pouget, of course, you can never count him out, has won so many championships, the reigning series Europe and France champion as well, but that's not including the number of titles that Nicolas Milan has. Some 18 titles between France, España, the European and the series titles that he has claimed. Milan of Milan competition, scoring points for both the series and the French championship as well. A number of drivers scoring for the Clio series as well as their respective regional championships as well. Some just scoring points for the regional championships, and of course all in their own individual classes as well. So there are quite a number of categories to try and keep on top of, but we'll do our best to keep you informed on what's what. What we can say is that the top 4 cars are the non-junior, non-challenger, non-gentleman category. I guess a de facto pro category, you could call it, as it is in the Alpine Cup, but the Clio doesn't technically have one. Car number 64 there, Gabriele Alonso, will line up at the back of the grid. As part of the, well, formerly of the España and European Championship, but just scoring points in the Clio Cup Series is Alonso, the Spaniard. But the last car is in position. Gabriele Torelli in the 12 car on the right-hand side. Nicolas Milan in the Castrol car on the left-hand side as we look at it. Green flag gets waved at the back. And the second meeting of the 2024 season for the Clio Cup Series here at the Autódromo Algarve will get underway. Looked like a decent start for our pole sitter, Gabriele Torelli, who moves across to the right-hand side to try and cover off Milan, but he has got good momentum there on the inside, being squeezed over into the pit lane exit, and David Pouget might try and take both of them. In fact, he does. 3 wide on the exit of the first corner, and David Pouget using all of that great experience. Plenty of cars locking up, and contact between the top 3. Pouget gets half spun round, and he ends up losing the lead. It looks like Nicolas Milan is the one who's come out best in all of that, as he tried to take second place back from pole sitter Torelli. And Pouget led, but only for a few meters before he had contact into the side of him. And it looks like Anthony Gerardo's now come out on top of all of that. Now Schimpf trying to get around the outside as well. Great fighting in the early stages of this race. But Anthony Gerardo, his race is definitely going better than the Alpine race a little bit earlier on. But Nicolas Milan has snatched that lead back on the exit of the corner. And the Castrol-coloured number 48 machine is back in front. But plenty of squabbles having to go on further down the order. It's Adrian Schimpf who has, he's been knocked down the order a little bit, because Anthony Gerardo is there in second place. Definitely Milan in second. More cars locking up as they head up the hill into turn 11 for the first time, and a bit of pinching, a bit of pointing as Gerardo tries to find his way through. A couple of cars scampering over the gravel. Milan defensive to the inside. Torelli trying to take second place back in that Rangoni Corsa car. Calmed down a little bit now, thankfully. There's a lot to keep on top of, and no further action on the turn 1 incident. Now I wonder if that's also referring to what happened at turn 3, because I slightly suspect they might have a little bit more to say about that. Couple of cars carrying a few war wounds from the first lap. They finished that first lap very shortly across the line, and Anthony Gerardo pulling right to the right-hand side. Nicola Milan, the race leader, hugging the right-hand side, as it is that it's cars everywhere going into the first corner. Gerardo trying to find his way through up on the curb as Torelli has to try. Oh, Torelli gets turned around by Adrian Schimpf. Big contact in the middle of the pack, somehow gathers it all up very nicely, and Schimpf is the one who goes through in the 113 blue car, but gets pushed out wide for good measure into the gravel and loses place after place after place. And further contact there. We've got two cars over on their roofs. Contact at turn 4. And that has put two cars out of contention. Lock up here as well from the 23, Alexander Finkelstein. Ends up losing a couple of places as a result of that, as he got barged out of the way. And unsurprisingly, the safety car has been called for because we had two cars on their roofs down at turn 4. Couldn't quite make out who they were, but if we see a replay, we'll be able to find that out. And we'll have a moment of calm after a lap and a half of fantastic Clio Cup action, as you'd expect. And let's take stock. So that looks to be the number 10 of Mauro Polderman, was one of the cars there, and confirmation at the bottom of the screen, youngest driver in the field, and son of Stefan Polderman, who's also in this field, currently in 17th position, and red flag has now been brought out. So the other car there is the 55, which is René Steenmetz, the car that started on pole position, the gentleman class. So there was contact, I think, with Mauro Polderman that at turn 4 that initially started all that, and then Steenmetz was a bit of a passenger in all that. But we do have a red flag out with 21 minutes and 8 seconds officially left on the clock, plus 1 lap. So I imagine what they'll do is, because we did get through the first sector, that is probably where they'll take the timing order from, but we'll get confirmation as they peel back into pit lane. We're going to have a bit of a wait on our hands here to make sure that those two cars get cleared. Thankfully, it looks like both the drivers are A-OK, walking away from the scene of the incident. And probably thinking, sharing a word there, and like, oh, can't believe it, how that happened. And wow. Here's a replay of what happened down at turn 3 on the opening lap. So it's Torelli turns in with Nicola Milan on his inside, and then scoots David Pouget out wide as well for good measure, having just taken the lead of the race. That was the number 69 car going a bit wide there. It's Quinto Stefana. And then, yeah, this was another big moment for Torelli at turn 2 as he got up on 2 wheels. And Adrian Schimpf tried to find his way through, and he got shuffled out wide. Oh, there was also a spin there for one of the cars a bit further back. But look at this for Gabriele Torelli. Wonderful save. It's the beauty of front-wheel drive. Just absolutely plant your foot and swing it back round. But usually you need to have both front wheels on the ground for that to work. He managed to do it with one. Astonishing. And yeah, that's Schimpf getting a bump. Getting Schimpfed onto the outside. And then, yes, this is where the contact ended up happening. So it was the 10 of Polderman that lost it and just collected the 55 of René Steenmetz there, unfortunately. So cars are queued up at the end of pit lane. This is how they line up as it stands. It's Nicola Milan who leads in the number 48 car. Our multiple champion in France, España, Europe, and in the series as well. A 43-year-old Frenchman who is currently 3rd in the championship. Then it's Anthony Gerardo in the number 5 car, our championship leader. Then it is the 58 car of Pierre Bredoux. And he's making up for a slightly disappointing Nogaro, where he had pole position for race 1, but his car failed scrutineering because his exhaust silencer didn't meet the mandatory weight, and so he didn't end up starting for pole position in the race. And he is the leader of the junior category at the moment in 3rd position overall. Then it's Nikola Milkovic in the number 11, who's our lead challenger car. And he's the reigning Clio Cup Mid-Europe Challenger champion as well. Then it's David Pouget, who led for all of a few meters down at turn 3 on the opening lap. Alexander Finkelstein in 23, that is currently in 6th position. Then the second of our juniors, Florian Venturi in 158. And he is currently the championship leader in the France junior category. Won both junior races at Nogaro last time out. And is the reigning Challenger Cup champion in Clio Cup France. You might be wondering, how can somebody be in Challenger one year and then Junior the previous year? Well, the class system has been a little bit tweaked since last year. But Florian Venturi currently in 7th position. Then it's Alejandro Schimpf in car number 199. And then it's Lorenzo van Riet, 2nd of the challengers in car 107. And he is currently the Challenger Championship leader in the Clio Cup Series. Won the opening race at Nogaro in his class. And then it's Jack Byrne in number 86 that completes the top 10 as it stands. Jack Byrne, the Irish racer who moved across from the Junior Irish Rallycross Championship, which he won 2 years running before stepping into Ginetta Juniors in Ireland, and then coming to race in the UK. This is his first season of Clio Cup racing, having joined us from the Mini Challenge in the UK. Finished 3rd in the championship there last year and has already made his presence known in the Clio Cup Series by fighting valiantly for the lead at Nogaro. Had a absolutely mega battle with Nicolas Milan. And anybody who can go toe-to-toe with Nicolas Milan is clearly somebody you do not want to trifle with. Because, like I say, Milan has, I mean, I've lost count of how many titles he's kept up. It is 17 titles that he's won in the various Clio Cup series in France, Spain, Europe, and the series as well, which has become the sort of de facto Clio Cup Europe championship. The incident involving cars 10 and 55, those are the two that ended up on their roofs and brought out this red flag. No further investigation. So that's been put down to a racing incident. And really, the important thing is that they're both okay and out of the car. So, Clio Cup Series first visit to Portimão, in its modern guise at least anyway. Red flag on the 2nd lap. And now we've got drivers running back into their cars. That's Nicolas Milan in a big hurry to get back into his car. By the looks of, oh no, is that somebody else talking to Nicolas Milan in the car? Something's been checked on the front left corner there. By the looks of it. I wouldn't give to have a camera down there looking at what is going on. But, of course, that car did get roughed up a little bit in the early stages of the race, but it's a Clio Cup race. It's bound to happen. But there definitely does seem to be quite a bit of attention to the front of Nicolas Milan's car. It's a shame the safety car is parked where it is. I wonder if we can slip someone a fiver to just go and move it over to the right ever so slightly so that we can see what is going on that Castrol number 48 Milan competition car. Well, maybe we'll see when it gets going. Oh, a shrug of the shoulders there at the very least. So it's not quite right by the sounds of it. Of course, the silence befalling the racetrack gives us a chance to hear the birds. Birds are down at turn 1, but looks like the rescue operation for the cars has been underway. Mauro Polderman's car is safely taken off the runoff area, and the race will resume behind the safety car. So it will be a safety car rolling restart by the sounds of it. I've got another incident under investigation, which is Gabriele Torelli and the 113 of Adrian Schimpf. And that was the incident we saw down at turn 3 at the start of the second lap, I believe it was, that pushed out Schimpf wide onto the gravel. So could be a potential penalty coming there for Gabriele Torelli. Who has fallen down to 19th position according to my timing chart. It's astonishing how quickly things can change, because that was the car that was fighting for the lead. Now the 55 car of René Steenmitz has been put on the flatbed. Will be removed as well. Guillaume Mao, by the way, our most recent race winner from Nagaro, up to 13th position, having started in 19th. And I gave you an update on the Junior and Challenger class championships, but the gentleman class being led by Stefan Polderman, Mauro's father, in 15th position overall in that number 21 machine. And he is a two-time Gentleman Cup champion in both Europe and Spain. And, well, actually, frankly, if there is a Clio Cup Championship in existence, he's probably raced in it, as we got confirmation we will be restarting at 22 minutes past the hour, so a little under 3 minutes time. But Stefan Polderman, if you've heard of it, I mean, he's started racing in 2008 in Clios, and he's raced in Belgium, the Netherlands, the Euro Cup, Benelux, Central Europe, France, Spain, Eastern Europe, Mid-Europe as well. He has been just about everywhere, and last year was second in the Racers Cup in the Mid-European Championship, third in the Racers Cup in the European Championship, as well as competing in the series as well. The 54-year-old Dutchman currently leading the gentleman class in 15th position overall. It's a lot calmer down at Nicola Milan's car now, especially now that we've got a confirmation time for a restart as well. So Nicola Milan also lost a likely podium finish at the first race at Nagaro, trying to pass David Pouget. So he was the winner amongst the France runners in the second race, but that second overall after Mayo's final straight move will sting a little bit. Again, if you haven't watched it yet, I highly urge you to watch back the Nagaro race, and a couple of thrillers in there as well. Very wet first race, and then dry at second race as well. Actually, it was a dry start to race 2, and then we had to have a red flag intervention for a downpour. So this is actually the third consecutive red flagged race of the 2024 season, and we've had 3 so far. But in fairness, the first race in Nagaro was red flagged with only a few seconds left on the clock, and it was after an on-track incident that was, needed slightly more intervention than just yellow flags. And then the weather caused the red flag in race number 2 at Nagaro. So yeah, third consecutive red flag in the Clio Cup Series. Only the second meeting of the season. And as I mentioned, we will be heading further afield. In 2 weeks' time, we go to Hockenheim, where the France runners will be joined by the Mid-European Championship, Misano, a week after that as well for the Spain and Italian Championships, Spa, a couple of weeks after that for our first triple header, so to speak, with Spain, Italy, and Mid-Europe racing. at Magny-Cours in August for France and Mid-European Championships, Barcelona in early September for Spain, Italy, and Mid-Europe. The safety car leads them back out again. It'll be at Le Castellet in early October for France, Italy, and Mid-Europe. And then the season finale at Monza at the end of October, which will just be the Italian championship running there, and of course the Clio Cup Series there as well. But a cracking calendar of 9 meetings, and as I mentioned at the top of the show, each of the 4 regional championships getting 5 race meetings and 10 races in throughout the season. Safety car leading the cars back out on track. The clock is running again, so 20 minutes or so plus 1 lap remaining in the first race of the weekend, in the second meeting at Portimão for the Clio Cup Series in 2024. Nicolas Milan it is who leads Anthony Girardot out onto the circuit. Pierre Bredoux and Nicolas Milkovic, David Pouget, Alexandre Finkelstein, Florian Venturi, Alejandro Schimpf, Lorenzo Van Riet, and Jack Byrne, your top 10. As they head back out onto the track. Keep an eye on Guillaume Mayo as well. Most recent race winner, looking to make progress from 13th. Gabriele Torelli down in 19th. He's got forward progress to make after a rough couple of corners. See, a few panels will be beaten up after a very rough opening couple of exchanges on this circuit. Said first visit to Portimão for the Clio Cup Series in its modern guise. The safety car will be in this lap. So it'll be Nicolas Milan in the Castrol coloured car, leading Anthony Girardot in that grey, white, and red number 5 Rangoni Corsa car. Pierre Bredoux in the 58 machine. Now that's the white car from Compt Racing. And he's the junior class leader as well, with Nicolas Milkovic in the black and yellow car. So Nicolas Milan slows down, lets the safety car pull clear, using all the experience that's won him 17 individual Clio Cup titles over many, many years of racing. Put his foot down through that final corner. We will be going racing once again with just over 18 minutes plus 1 lap left on the clock. Nicolas Milan leads them out of the final corner with a rather healthy margin over Anthony Girardot, it must be said, but still feeling the need to go defensive into the first corner. Once again, hugging the right-hand side of the track, going right up to the painted edge, trying to keep Anthony Girardot at bay. It's 3 for the lead on this restart, as there is only half a second covering those 3 cars, and Girardot going for the lead on the inside into turn 3, but nothing doing, no overlap being drawn. A bit of tyre smoke as cars are locking up going into turn 3. Side by side here with Jack Byrne on the outside, being squeezed out into the runoff area. Jack Byrne knows how to get his elbows out, and he proved that at Nagaro in his first meeting. Down into the hairpin at Torovit for the first time on this restart. Thankfully, no big lockups and no big collisions. This time we've run it very clean. So you see the 99 of Guillaume Mayo there, still in 13th position. They came out of the hairpin. Oh, big lockup there. Looked like that was for the 35 of Thomas Compagne. But living to fight for another day. You see, that is also the car directly in front of Guillaume Mayo as well. And he's looking to make forward progress, but he's locking up himself down into turn 11. Could throw a blanket over these first 5 cars, couldn't you? Absolutely nothing separating them. We did start to see a bit of a breakaway in the early stages of the race before the red flag came out. Let's see if we'll see the same thing again. Florian Venturi in 6th position. That's the biggest gap at the moment. It's 0.8 of a second to David Pouget in front of him. The rest of them are much, much thinner. And you can see visibly the gap between that top 5 side by side in the final corner here, as the 43 machine of Damiano Puccetti gets up ahead of Ludovico Longoni for 14th position. And once again, it's like watching a Moto3 race, isn't it? Where they stream all across the front straight, trying to break the slipstream. And through into 4th place there goes David Pouget, around the outside of Nikola Milkovic into the first corner. Has to go defensive and locks up his brakes, does Pouget, the reigning champion in car number 1. But he does manage to keep Milkovic just about at bay. Although I'm sure there is going to be an incentive for the Serbian racer to try and make his way through at the hairpin, although it doesn't look like he's quite able to do anything with it going down into turn 5 once again. So we've got that top 5 just breaking away from Florian Venturi, who's leading the sort of second train of cars. It's 1.5 seconds that covers the top 5. Gabriele Torelli doing the fastest lap of the race, though, in what is now 15th position. Remember, he was 19th on the restart, so he's made good forward progress. I've been roughed up a little bit just before the red flag came out. His fastest lap at 2:05.537. And that is a few tenths of a second quicker than Nicola Milan up at the front of the field. Leonardo Arduini in that bright yellow number 60 car, looking to get up and around Lorenzo Van Riet. Both have lost out to Jack Byrne, who's now up into 8th position. And Alejandro Schimpf in the blue and black 199 car, looking to try and make forward progress, as well as Van Riet gets pushed out a little bit wide there. Has to gather up the car, but this is the lead battle as Nicola Milan leads that train of cars around this final corner once again. Yeah, the tyre squeal as they go around the long right-hander. Alejandro Schimpf in 199 getting up past Arduini. His recovery drive after getting pushed out into the gravel down at turn 3 earlier in the race. Arduini second in the Series Junior Championship, deciding not to fight it all that hard. Pierre Bredoux, the junior class leader, looking to get around Anthony Gerardo. Pouget right in this as well, as is Milkovic. I'll tell you, it won't be long actually before this train of 5 cars ends up just becoming the entire field again if they keep squabbling as they are. And look like Bredoux having to go a little defensive. It is indeed. He's having to cover the inside because here comes the reigning champion, David Pouget, around the outside. Nothing doing though as they get round the hairpin, but Pouget might be able to get the run he needs on the exit of the corner. Not quite, has to tuck back in behind. That will allow the top 2 to start to break away as well. I wonder if that's their plan, to try and break away from the pack and then squabble later on in the race. 13 minutes plus a lap to go, so we're about half race distance now. Of course, had the red flag intervening as well as David Pouget once again draws up alongside Pierre Bredoux for 3rd position, right around the outside at turn 10. Very brave stuff, and that of course does eventually give him the line into turn 11. Milkovic trying to follow him through as well in that black and yellow number 11 car, and he does. So Pierre Bredoux ends up losing 2 spots in one maneuver. It could be a 3rd because Florian Venturi and Alexander Finkelstein trying to find their way through as well. Look at the reprieve that's given the top 2. They're now 1.2 seconds clear of David Pouget in 3rd position. So side by side between Alexander Finkelstein and Florian Venturi, just a little bit further back. That's for 5th position going through the final corner. Alexander Finkelstein just coming out on top there, ahead of car number 158. But Venturi trying to come back at him, and now we're going to go side by side for the lead of the race. Anthony Gerardo pulls out of the slipstream on the outside of Nicolo Milan, but no way through. The Milan competition car with its Castrol colours staying ahead of Gerardo's Rangoni Corsa. It was a maiden victory for both car and driver, or team and driver I should say, last time out at Nogaro. They're looking to build on that momentum that they had at the opening round. Still nose to tail as they go around the hairpin, but leading the rest of the pack by 1 second. So maybe that is the plan, to just try and pull away, but they've lost a couple of tenths compared to that previous lap against David Pouget, which still leaves that train of cars for third position. Nikola Milkovic and Pierre Bradu. So it's Milkovic, the challenge leader, Pierre Bradu, the junior class leader. Rising back up the hill now through turns 10 and 11. A lot of tyre smoke has been coming off of the front right corner of David Pouget's car. He has been locking those brakes a fair bit in this race, because they are only limited to 6 of these Michelin tyres per race weekend from qualifying onwards. So they do have to look after them slightly. There'll be one corner that is least affected. One they don't change. Ten minutes plus 1 lap to go. Nikola Milan leads them round the final corner once again, starting to re-establish that gap over the rest of the field, which is 1.2 seconds as they entered the third and final sector of the lap. And the right-hand side of that track's getting rubbered in more than it has been all day long. Again, Gerardo aggressively pulls out to the outside, draws a bit more of an overlap under braking for the first corner, but still is unable to usurp Nikola Milan from the lead of this race, who's doing a fantastic job keeping Anthony Gerardo at bay. I've been racing in Clio since 2018, has Gerardo, the 29-year-old from Montpellier. Gabriele Torelli doing another fastest lap of the race. This is a big dive from Gerardo here, gets into the side of Milan. Milan runs out wide, and Anthony Gerardo does take the lead of the race, but I'm sure that if not the stewards, Nikola Milan will have something to say about it. David Pouget now on his back bumper, 2 rivals who've had so much success in Clio Cup racing in recent years. Now right with them. Here we're going to see it again. It's a big, late braking maneuver from Anthony Gerardo. Gets into the side of Milan, pushes Milan out wide. I wouldn't be surprised if that has caught the attention of the stewards. It certainly caught the attention of Nikola Milan. They want to take that lead back again. Heading up into turn 13, final sector of the lap. Nikola Milan not falling back off of Gerardo's bumper. Still there in second place, still with every opportunity to try and regain the lead. The car's cocking the inside wheel as they plummet down the hill through that penultimate corner at turn 14. It's great to watch. It's the 23 of Alexander Finkelstein, a little squirrely through the final corner, and that allows Florian Venturi a bit of momentum to come down the straight. 2 seconds covers the top 7, and into the back of Gerardo's car went Nikola Milan. Now on the inside, David Pouget trying to take full advantage of that as well, but Nikola Milan back into the lead of the race into turn 1, so less than a lap was Gerardo's lead. As Pouget, well, now he's having to fend off Pierre Bradu as he's come through into 4th position, trying to take 3rd away from the reigning champion up at turn 4. And this again is going to give a little bit of reprieve to the top 2. Pouget on the inside, Bradu on the outside, and he ends up running all 4 wheels off the circuit, and has to keep Nikola Milkovic at bay as well, remember. And here we're going to see the move again. So it was now was that too late a defense from Anthony Gerardo, I wonder? Did he move in reaction to Nikola Milan? Again, not one for me to decide, but one for the stewards, or one for Nikola Milan to report to the stewards and for them to decide. But that's their second bit of contact in less than a lap, fighting for the lead of this race. It's certainly been a dramatic affair. A great battle to watch nonetheless. So that lead gap now 6 seconds. It's the biggest it's been all race long. Gabriele Torelli here making forward progress once again. Car number 12 now up into the top 10. So fastest lap of the race was just done by Adrian Schimpf in 12th position. The 113 car, the junior. Yeah, that's Jack Byrne that Torelli has just usurped. So he's now in 9th position, but Jack Byrne's coming back at Torelli. Coming into the front straight. Down the straight we go once again. Looking more like 3 for the lead. It looks like Jack Byrne did manage to get that place back from Torelli as Alexander Finkelstein and Alejandro Schimpf banging wheels going through turns 2 and 3. Up on 2 wheels is Florian Venturi at turn 3. Keeping the car nicely balanced. It's Lorenzo Van Riet right round the outside at turn 4. He's in a close fight with Adrian Schimpf and with Gabriele Torelli as well. Big lock up going down into the hairpin, and Jack Byrne gets pinched on either side of him going into the hairpin. Great bit of driving either side of him, but also in fairness to Jack as well to not have a little clumsy moment going down into the hairpin, because that would have been far too easy to do. Here it is again. So Jack Byrne, the white car, braking on the inside, gets a little nudge as well, but ends up getting passed by both Lorenzo Van Riet and Adrian Schimpf either side. Great stuff. That's Van Riet into 10th, Jack Byrne 11th, and Adrian Schimpf 10th, Lorenzo Van Riet 11th, and Jack Byrne in 12th. My time screen just updating itself there. 4 minutes plus a lap to go. Nicola Milan still leading Anthony Girardo and David Pouget, and not by much. As Lorenzo Van Riet trying to make a move there up the inside on Adrian Schimpf into turn 13. That's Alexander Finkelstein still looking at the back of Florian Venturi. The 158 car of Venturi with the French flag down the front bonnet. Heading down the straight once again. And again, hugging the right-hand side of the track. Anthony Girardo again pulling to the outside. It's not a move that has worked previously, and a 5-second time penalty has gone to the Nikola Milkovic car in 5th position for track limits. Also to the 35 car of Thomas Compan, but that's a little bit further back. So Nikola Milkovic in 5th position, carrying a 5-second time penalty there as it stands. That would drop him well outside the top 10. So he needs to hope that there's a bit more of a gap that gets made in the closing 3 minutes plus 1 lap of this race. But still Nicola Milan leads Girardo, leads Pouget, leads Prideaux, leads Milkovic. Slightly further down the order, we've got Lorenzo Van Riet there, trying to get back inside the top 10. But this is David Pouget, car number 1, reigning champion. Just losing touch with the top 2 there, half a second behind Anthony Girardo. And yes, that's what counts for losing touch in Clio Cup racing. As you can probably tell, it's a pretty close affair. See all the cars leaning so hard on the front tyres going into turn 11. It's causing smoke to come up from the rub it up against the bodywork by the looks of it. 2 minutes plus a lap to go. I wonder if Anthony Girardo's got anything left in the tank to try and usurp Nicola Milan from the lead of this race. Girardo, the championship leader going into this weekend. Nicola Milan, 3rd in the championship going into this weekend. Still lots to fight for. We're only in the 2nd meeting of the season. But we are coming up to the penultimate lap of the race, I think it will be. And Anthony Gerardo with a bit more momentum this time, but just can't get around the outside. We saw how hard it was for him to try and get the lead last time around. Doubt it's going to be any easier with the opportunities starting to wear thin. You can see the gap progression. Guilherme Maio making up 5 positions there, but Puccetti in 15th position, making up 15 positions there. Damiano doing a great job there in the España car. Oh, bit of smoking, bit of rubbing, and that was, I think, Florian Venturi getting a little bit boxed out there. Indeed it was, and Nikola Malkovic fallen down into 7th position as well, but picked up a spot back again. So I think that's the Serbian back up into 6th place ahead of Alexander Finkelstein, and Gabriele Torelli joins the party as well, up the inside. So that's Torelli into 7th position, I want to say. Get confirmation when they go over the timing line. Yes, it is. You can count the cars as they come through. And this top 4 is suddenly broken away. They're 1.6 seconds ahead of Florian Venturi. I know Venturi had that moment at the hairpin, but yeah, suddenly 1.7 seconds. We're about to go on to the last lap, and it looks like it's going to be one of these 4 cars. Oh, that sounded like contact down at the turn 13 hairpin. That's going to cause a few issues and a bit more of a jumbling up of the order, but 1 lap to go now. Heading through the final corner for the penultimate time. It is Nicolas Milan, leads Anthony Gerardo, leads David Puget, leads Pierre Bredoux. One of these 4 is going to come away with the win by the looks of it, as they are nearly 2 seconds clear now of the rest of the field. And in fact, it was getting very close between them now, as Alexander Finkelstein got run into the back of there. And to the outside, Anthony Gerardo hasn't been able to make this work, but he hasn't been that far alongside. Still can't make it work, though. He was practically ahead by the time they got to the turning point. Does he lunge up the inside into 3? No, he can't do it. It's an amazing battle between those two that has been all race long, and David Puget and Pierre Bredoux waiting in the wings as well. Not quite finished just yet, as there's cars battered trying to come through at turn 4, and Pierre Bredoux fancies his spot on the overall podium, as well as Anthony Gerardo was leaning very hard on the brakes going into turn 5, trying to find his way through on the inside. Still a few opportunities left, though, for the man from Montpellier to try and get Milan on this final lap. See how much they're leaning on the left-hand tyres going through turns 7 and 8. Great stuff. Really leaning the right-hand side tyres into the air. But it is still Nicolas Milan who leads. Milan going for his first overall victory of the season. He came so close in Nogaro. 45 thousandths of a second separated him and Guilherme Maio in the second race in Nogaro. It could be as close as that. Again, if anything in this race we've seen so far is to go by. Gerardo trying to take that wider line through the penultimate corner to try and make sure he gets momentum. If it's going to be a drag to the finish line, it's going to be a very close one indeed, but it does look like it will be Nicolas Milan, although Anthony Gerardo will try everything he can in this final corner and in the toe, but Nicolas Milan's got a nice advantage coming out of the final corner, and for the first time this season, it's Nicolas Milan who takes victory in the Clio Cup Series. It's a perfect start to the racing weekend in Portimão. Anthony Gerardo in second position, David Puget in third, and Pierre Bredoux in fourth position. And then in the battle for the rest of the pack, that was 3.8 seconds behind in the end. It was Alexander Finkelstein who came out on top. Nikola Milkovic sixth across the line, but does have that 5-second penalty to be applied, so we'll wait for confirmation on that. It is the challenge victory for him provisionally as well, and worth saying Pierre Bredoux, the junior class winner as well. So confirmation as Milkovic's penalty is applied, still the challenge victory, but down 10th position overall. And Stefan Polderman taking the gentleman class win in 18th position overall. A wave of the hand from Nicolas Milan as he takes his first victory of the season outright. Third in the championship going into this weekend. And after what was a promising but probably slightly frustrating opening race of the season in Algarve, where he lost out on the podium trying to pass Pouget, lost the win in race 2 in the final second of the race, has redeemed himself with victory in the first race of the season. Anthony Gerardo will likely still be leading the championship going into this one. In fact, Torelli and Milan were tied on points going into this one, but Gerardo was 5 points clear going into this weekend after taking pole position and the race win at the opening round in Algarve. Only course up 1-2. Here's a look at the results then. Nicolas Milan for the first time this season ahead of Anthony Gerardo and David Pouget in third. Our junior class winner, Pierre Brédoux for Comps Racing. And then it was Alexander Finkelstein ahead of Gabriele Torelli, who came up to 6th position in the end, ahead of Alejandro Schimpf, second in junior, and Adrian Schimpf, third in junior. Then it was Florian Schimpf, Florian Venturi, Nikola Milkovic, the challenge class winner. Jack Byrne in 11th position. Leonardo Argiani, Guillaume Mayo, only 13th in the end. Damiano Puccetti and Ludovico Longoni completing the top 14, or top 15, I should say. Lorenzo Van Riet in 16th. Nicola Tosic, Stefan Polderman, the gentleman class winner. Benjamin Kova and Quintin Stefana. Adrian Chirichetti, that's second and third in the gentleman class. Manuel Fernandez and Calvin Comte ahead of Cedric Dalcoy, Michael Carrie Nava, Samuel Chanlin, Jean-Louis Carponsin, and Michel Fay in the top 29. Thomas Compan, Gal Rostand, and Gabriele Alonso completing the 32 cars that finished the race. Of course, we lost Mario Polderman and Rene Steenmetz in that red flag incident. Quite amazing. This is the only 2 cars we lost. Then the amount of wheel banging and panel rubbing. Apologies to any French listeners who managed to make out some of those naughty French words there from the Milan competition team. Now, looks like a few words being exchanged between Milan and Gerardo. Oh, but that's good to see, isn't it? All's fair in love and war. Respect between the two. That's what we like to see. So cars are making their way back into pit lane after a very thrilling opening race of the weekend for the Clio Cup Series. And back with us tomorrow, of course. It'll be a 3:15 local time for the start of race 2. Nicolas Milan for the first time on the top step of the overall podium. In terms of the juniors, Pierre Brédoux, Alejandro and Adrian Schimpf on the podium there for Pierre Brédoux. It's first class win of the season for him as well, for the former 208 Racing Cup France champion. But here's a look back at the highlights from the opening race of the weekend. Gabriele Torelli on pole position, but it was Nicolas Milan who was very forceful up the inside. David Pouget, though, wise to them both and nicked past both of them to lead for about 100 meters before he got a bit of a clang in the side from Gabriele Torelli after he made contact with Nicolas Milan at turn 3. We saw Andrea and Schimpf getting locked out. And then we had a red flag for this incident between Polderman and Steenmetz down at turn 4. Got back racing once again. We saw this move from Anthony Gerardo to take the lead of the race, which was quite a bit more forceful than probably Nicolas Milan would have liked. But Milan was very quick to take the lead back again. And once he did not relinquish it. soaked up the pressure from the 3 cars behind, and for the first time this season takes the overall honours in the Clio Cup Series. And celebrations once again from the Milan competition team, as he celebrated with the team in the Parc Fermé. Well, if I understood better French, I'd be able to eavesdrop a little bit better there. But that's all from the opening race of the weekend from the Clio Cup Series. Back with us tomorrow, 3:15 local time. So we will have the podium for the Clio Cup Series. Milan, Anthony Gerardo and David Pouget will be right up there to enjoy. Gabriele Torelli losing out to second in the championship, tied on points with Nicolas Milan going into this weekend on 75 points. May will be a little disappointed with that as well. He was 4th in the championship. In terms of the junior standings, Jack Byrne will be coming under a bit of pressure. He was only 5th in the standings. He was leading by only 10 points going into this weekend, but it was Leonardo Arduini who he actually beat. In terms of the Clio Cup Series Junior Championship, he's actually only been beaten by Alejandro and Adrian Schimpf. So maybe he will be okay there in the lead of the championship. At the podium then for the first race of the weekend for the Clio Cup Series. And it's an all-French podium with Nicolas Milan, car number 48 from Sinon here in France, Anthony Gerardo from Montpellier, as we mentioned, and then David Pouget from Albi in France. Again, it's moments like this where I wish I understood better French. I do like eavesdropping on drivers in Parc Fermé and right before podium ceremonies. Give us a little bit of juicy details, but it's great to see that there's no bad blood and there's just good respect between Milan and Gerardo after what was a very intense fight. There was a bit of panel rubbing and vinyl paint exchange between them, but it seems they both understand each other very well. It's taking on those fluids as well. It has gotten significantly warmer in Portimão since this morning's terrible weather in which we went qualifying. And now we will have the podium. David Pouget in car number 1.
Second position, Anthony Jurado.
Pouget improving on that 6th position in the championship, and a bit better than his race 2 results. Had late contact, Nogaro, last time out. Anthony Gerardo back on the podium after leading that Rangoni course of 1-2 at the opening race at Nogaro, and Nicolas Milan on the top step of the podium for the first time this season.
And to give the prize for the 3rd position, Jennifer. From the Clio Cup Series. 2nd position.
David Pouget taking his
trophy
3rd
for
place
Anthony
trophy.
Jurado. And the trophy for the winner, also ended by Jennifer, Nicolas Milan.
Nice efficient trophy presentation there by Jennifer. But that is all the action from the Clio Cup Series in race
photo.
number
Drivers,
1.
please
We
raise
will
your
be back for
trophy
race number
for the
2,
photo.
3:15 tomorrow afternoon.
And a big round of applause for